Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Friday night edition of Just Another G.I. Joe Show, episode number 22. I am your host, Mike, and I want to go ahead and throw this out here real quick. I have learned in Branding 101, easy. You can find me everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Just Another G.I. Joe Show. No more of this, or that, as Josh has put it, basically. But you can find me everywhere, Just Another G.I. Joe Show. We got Fred. You can find him everywhere. Joe Battle Alliance, including on Twitch, I think. Twitch, right?
I'm just so happy that you learned Branding 101.
Shut
Oh my God, is this so beautiful?
Actually, here's another thing. I actually started an account with Cobra Island, which we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. And it's underneath Just Another G.I. Joe Show, and I've asked his to change it. But he said, yeah, I'll get right on that. That was 3-4 days ago. I haven't seen nothing change yet. But anyways, we got a special guest. Again, Bobby Vala has joined us for a show. And like I said in the video this morning, I was like, I don't know why the hell he would want to come hang out with us again for the first time. But I guess he was like, I'm a glutton for punishment. Yeah. So we have a better looking area behind you. We can actually say, look, we're actually doing a collection spotlight, but it's all piled up behind you.
It's a collection construction zone is what it is.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I just now noticed the terror dome right above your head.
Yeah, terror dome's back there in pieces.
Good Lord. So tell us what's been going on. We talked, it was probably a few episodes ago, so it's been a couple. It was back to San Diego, not too long after San Diego when you did the Cobra Missile Command set, and then you did an interview with Joe Battle Lines. And then, so we're going to talk about a little bit, but you have had your hand maybe a little bit into the collector club stuff.
A little bit, yeah. I'm lucky enough to be able to help those guys out when they ask, and they came asking, and I jumped at the opportunity. So, I helped them out with some of the builds for the FSS7 figures that you guys have been starting to see that they've been releasing online. So it's been a blast. I did some builds for them, just, as a fan, like, hey, these, it'd be cool if you guys did these. And one of the figures that they've released so far is one of those builds that I sent them a while back. So it's kind of awesome that they're getting that figure out there. So I'm really psyched about it.
Great.
But the stuff they're doing is really great.
Now, you've worked on previous stuff for the club, if I remember correctly, right? Like, did you do anything on FSS6?
I'm trying to remember. Don't remember.
You've played with so many G.I. Joes.
I've been so busy at work, and I go through so many Joes that I lose track of them sometimes.
Right.
I might have, and I just can't remember because I'm only thinking of the 7 figures right now. But if I remember, I'll let you know.
Well, and that's got to be awesome to. Again, as we've said, we're just fans. You're a fan that's getting to work on stuff that's seeing release.
But I'm all fan. I'm all fan.
It shows because, again, as we talked about with the Missile Command, man, the care and the attention to detail on that was primo. So,
sure.
Thank you. Gushing.
Before we get into screen share, I want to show if you all did the Kickstarter, James Cavanaugh's book has been shipped out. I got mine in the other day, Rank and File Guide, 4-inch G.I. Joe figures, volume 1.1. And there was a little bit, I think if I'm right, I think what they added new to this was the, was it retaliation that was added to this? Something new was added to it.
James said he corrected some formatting issues. There were some things that always bugged him in it.
Right.
And I haven't got my copy yet, but he had said that, it's kind of like he put it out and then he was like, oh man, if I'd only, looked over at one, it's that whole second guessing yourself. And so he was fortunate enough that the demand was there for him to do a second run, which gave him the chance to fix the things that bugged him before. So James, if you're at all watching this, which you're one of the 5 that do. Hi, Mom. Again, thanks a lot for all your effort on this. These books are great, and if anyone out there hasn't purchased these, You know, Christmas is coming up. They do make a really good gift.
There you go. I know. When I looked through it, I really enjoyed it because, it shows the figure without the accessories on, and it shows you all the accessories beside it. I mean, and I've never gotten a book like this for G.I. Joe. I've always had some for Transformers. The easiest loose, the pieces to lose the easiest and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's everything as far as like Cobra Commander's cape and stuff you have to remove the helmet, the head off of in order to get off. I mean, so he took everything apart, pictured all of it, so it's a really good book. Y'all should be able to get it. I believe he had some of those. I think he said plenty of those available. And he also has some of the rest, 2, 3, and 4, which I think I'm still waiting on 2 from you, Fred.
Oh crap! I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I owe you a book.
You know what else I forgot about, Fred? I do believe someone said they had a shirt they were going to get.
I owe you a Tiger Force shirt, too. And by the way, James's book, if you can see my hack writing, is at rahcguide.com. We're high-tech here. Yeah, so Bobby, you have a Tiger Force shirt coming. I think I finally got the order in, so it probably should be maybe by December 1. Vista takes a little while to get those done, but...
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh. The mark of shame. I mean, yay, Tiger Force. Woo.
Yeah, you better love them kitty cats. All right, here's our favorite part of the whole show.
Screen share. I feel like it needs intro music when you do screen share.
It needs
I feel like we need like screen share. Mike's going to do some screen share. And
it
then
needs like a glittery entrance, like a glittery 90s, like Reading Rainbow entrance. That's what it is.
All right, so we should be up there, right?
Oh, look at that.
Oh, sweet camo.
Whoa!
Hold on. Okay, for y'all who did not see, about a little over an hour ago, the club revised version FS7 Dusty. Again, this is still only a digital image mock-up, and final product will and probably more or less will vary. But he will have his camo pants, which was an oversight, as they said here, which... from a collector's standpoint of view, if you're going to go by original, what we looked at the side-by-side the first time around, it was totally missing the camo. Again, it was an oversight, apparently from the club's end or whoever's in. Sorry, I'm doing something else. Bite my finger. But yeah, the camo, in my opinion, looks great. It makes it a whole lot different than what, because when I first saw the first one, I was kind of like, I wasn't, it didn't jump off at me and like, yeah, that's going to be one of the ones I want to keep. I want to open it. I want to do a toy review on it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I might sell it. Then, like I said, an hour ago, they updated this. A friend of mine posted it on Twitter, and I was, this made a whole lot of difference for me. Now, if they can only turn that beret around the other way.
Well, and the thing about this is again, we said this on the last show. Dusty has a pretty basic design. The muscle shirt, the pants, the beret. Out of all the figures of that era, he's probably one of the more basic looking. And I think having the camo on there helps him pop a little more. It adds a lot more needed detail to the pants, as opposed to he's the guy that's just wearing the khakis going to work at Target. And yeah, I think he looks good. I still the head thing is still the head thing. They have to go with the head that works with the beret. But he's looking a lot. He looks very Deke now, a lot more Deke than he did before.
Yeah, I can't remember 100%. Is that beret molded on the head, or is it removable?
That comes off.
Okay. Well, is there any other berets out there that went the other direction? If we're going to go, back to the original, the beret was, or is this the new modern beret? This is the only beret they have.
There was the Rise of Cobra Sergeant Stonehead had a beret, but it wasn't removable.
It was molded on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember which side that one's leaning towards. If it's incorrect or correct.
Might be to the right. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't recall. But yeah, because the only other beret heads out there are Stalker, if I remember.
Yeah, Stalker.
Well, and the really, really funky looking 25th anniversary Falcon.
That's right. Yeah, the one that came with Nemesis, Nemesis Immortal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. There was that weird looking head.
I have to throw this out real quick. I just looked it up on USPS. The second shipment of FSS6 has been picked up from the club.
What?
Yep. They said they were going to get this out. Whoopsie. They were going to get this out before Thanksgiving.
Do you know how behind this puts me now? Good Lord.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll do a hack review. You'll be okay. You'll be all right. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Hey, Fred, how did you spend your Thanksgiving? Typing. Must type more.
Well, that's some good news. I mean, they're getting them out there, man, like a bad addict. You know, I mean, that's good. They're feeding my crack addiction.
Well,
Plastic
and if
crack.
they get them out now, the closer they would ship them to Christmas, the more likely they are to be delayed with just that, hellish wave of boxes that hits the Postal Service and FedEx every year.
It's
So
horrible too.
they're, man, the club's killing it this year.
All right. Now the next one that was revealed, what was it, Thursday, was Tomax, which is the shattered glass Tomax is what it ended up being, but it's actually Sunbow Tomax. But the only difference on this one versus the other one, I'm looking at the case, is that the flower's opposite and the hairline's opposite.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. I mean, it's still the same Professor X body. Same pistol, same case, which I don't know whether that's Moneybag Destro case or
this
what.
one isn't. They mentioned something. I don't have the descriptions up in front of me. I had them on JBL, but they mentioned something about warheads in the case.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. They did say
I think
warheads.
it's the Rise of Cobra case.
Yeah, I think it's the Nanomite.
Oh, well,
case.
cool. That's cool. I like that case. But then they also, I don't know what this weapon is he's holding in his hand. What is that, Fred?
That is the
grappling hook.
pistol that came with the 25th anniversary Destro in his backpack, if I remember.
You are correct, Fred.
Gosh, I got it on my wall, man.
And actually, you know what? I love it. And I'll tell you why I love it. Because it's an accessory that unless they release that Destro's backpack, we haven't seen this pistol a lot.
It actually wasn't his backpack. It was a briefcase.
Or briefcase, yes.
The Mars briefcase.
So I dig the fact that we haven't seen this pistol as much. It's just kind of, it jazzes him up a little bit. So I don't know if the head's still going to be this. I'm assuming the head's still going to be the same size as his brother, because it would be weird if they fixed the proportion for one and not the other. But as a Sunbow guy, I kind of dig it still, because they spent as much time in their Gordon Gekko 80s power suits as they did in the Crimson Guard uniforms in the cartoon. And now I can finally react that scene from The Trader where they're standing around Dusty and he's like, oh, at the table with piles of money around him.
The only other thing, I'm assuming just by looking at this that we're probably going to have the same issue as we did with Zaymont, was the, big head issue.
Most likely.
Yeah. Okay. So this one I'll definitely be keeping. Fred, are you keeping this? Or you keep all yours?
Look, even ones I don't necessarily care for. Cough Gaucho. Actually, no, I take it back. Cough Desert Grunt from the first one. I still keep them.
So much hate.
That grunt is just not their best work. He's just not.
Here we got Skidmark, which someone told me. I read somewhere where they said, I don't know if this is even true, that Hasbro lost the license to the trademark Skidmark to Fruit of the Looms.
What?
I don't know whether it's true or not. I don't know what to believe on the internet no more. When I read that, I died laughing. I'm like, are you serious? They lost the trademark Skidmark to
No,
Fruit of the Looms.
I'm thinking that's probably up there with, you know, Sasquatch votes in presidential election as an urban legend. But, you know, somebody did point out, and I thought this was cool because, you know, his name is Treadmark now. Well, I guess it was the European version, came with a file card, you know, it came with 3 file cards or something. And Treadmark was his UK name. I haven't had a chance to research this.
There was the Treadmark is the overseas. I don't know if it was UK or not, but it is another name for him.
I'm thinking he's pretty much the definition of awesome. I mean, yeah, he's wearing a deer hunter vest, but so is the original.
Yeah, this is pretty much dead on from the original. The only thing it's really hard for me to get by on are those pea green pants and the reuse.
Look, it was a long drive. He had a big gulp. Leave him alone.
That, and then also the reuse of the G.I. Joe Renegade's Cobra Trooper head.
Really?
Which, yeah, we reused it in. Well, yeah, it does, but I mean, it's just the reuse again. I guess it's just me. I mean, they used it in JoeCon 2016.
Yeah, Black Bolt. But you know, here I can't think of a better head to use for Skidmark. Quite
You're
honestly,
right. It's true. It is. We knew going in it's probably what it was going to be, but it's kind of like, yeah, you know, we just used it not too long ago. But that's just me being a silly nilly about it, I guess.
I do think it's funny that his knife is just tucked into his vest.
Someone pointed that out. They thought that was an afterthought.
And I'll tell you why it amuses me is if you think about the history of G.I. Joe, and we had Sunbow, and we had public service announcements telling us not to play in old refrigerators, not to take our pills out of the medicine cabinet or jump over our bikes over power lines. But apparently it's okay to take like a 12-inch blade, just cram that puppy in your belt. Because what could possibly go wrong, kids? I freaking love everything about this figure.
And then let's see.
I just see Bobby laughing. He's like,
I can never go with you sometimes because it's like I hear you talk about a figure and you're like, oh man, this figure is terrible. And then there's someone I'm definitely not gonna like this figure. And then you're like, oh man, I love this figure.
It's all subjective, man. It's all subjective. You know, you look at Treadmark, screw it, Skidmark, and he is literally everything that you think of with the original, just poured it over. I like the fact that he's owning those
modern copy.
Yeah. So, Mike, are you keeping him or chucking him?
Oh, I'm going to keep the Deer Hunter.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, here's one that we talked about, and we were like, Fred pretty much called it to the wire on what this one was, except for the build, I think. We knew the jetpack and the helmet.
The jetpack and the helmet, yeah.
But this is going to be General Hawk, which I think is effing awesome looking. I really do. I mean, I think it looks good. I mean, the jetpack work, the missiles work, the helmet, and it all works. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, and me and Freddie even talked about it, that it's been photoshopped that the head could possibly be the Resolute Duke out of the 7-pack.
The Cold Weather Duke, yeah.
And that would work, totally work on that one.
It's like the perfect head.
Yeah.
Good guess.
I'm just gonna say this, Deke the cartoon's a little rough to watch sometimes.
Oh, come on.
We just my fiance and I just finished a viewing of Sunbow to Deke, like every Saturday, doing 2 at a time for weeks.
She's a trooper.
She's like she said to me, she's like, okay, you talk about this all the time. What's this all about? We started watching it. Her favorite character is Cobra Commander, so I should, that says a lot, but it's awesome. And so we got to Deke. Deke was a little rough for her, but I gotta say, even though I didn't care for because the episode with Hawk where he's in this gear, it's like, oh Hawk, you're gonna retire because you're old and you can't do anything, and you're just in charge of a Volcania, a wreck base. Take all that out of it. This figure's the bomb. Like.
Oh, you think I'm old? I'm going to put on a jetpack. How about that?
Yeah, you know what? Screw you, young guys. I'm strapping a helmet, a jetpack, some missiles. I'll show you. Oh, and grenades. And I love the fact that they took what is not a very realistic era Hawk. We went from the bomber jacket. This design's killer. Like, there's no bad to any part of this. No. If the head's what we think, he's going to be my second favorite behind Crystal Ball, which I haven't even seen yet, but he's Crystal Ball.
Yeah, this one here lines up to, it's going to be one of those ones where, I mean, there really hasn't been, from what I've read on Hiss, I haven't heard any negativity about this one whatsoever, to my understanding.
I think the one person who doesn't like it is probably like cowering, behind the couch, because they know the minute they go, "Ah, Hawk's stupid," they're just going to get lambasted. Yeah, O-rings are going to come flying out of nowhere. Poor guy's never going to make it out, or girl, either one.
Some keyboard warriors are going to come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I can't wait for that figure, honestly.
Yeah, this one here is going to be a good one.
It's a good one. I love that figure when I was a kid. He was one of my favorites.
Now, here's Camp Crystal Lake. That's all I got to say. This one here, people have been a little, what are they thinking, blah, 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 blah. You go back to the concept case. Hello, this is what it was.
Yeah, it's pretty much
what you people are bitching about.
I think the club, I don't know if the concept case had Road Pig's crossbow. I don't remember seeing that, but I dig it because...
Oh, yeah.
You know what? As much as, okay, in America, we see the hockey mask, we scream Jason Voorhees. But when I look at the Dreadnoks, you got to remember the 80s when they came out. This is Mad Max Road Warrior era. He is totally a member. Okay, yeah, he's not bare-chested like the Humongous and the Road Warrior, but he's totally like Road Warrior, Mad Max vibe in that outfit. And I don't see him as a troop builder. No. I see him because I think that's what it was originally intended as. I kind of see him as a named character, and that's okay. He's the guy that like talks in the creepy gravelly voice that all the other Dreadnoks are like, Jesus, like
get you some Dayquil, buddy.
Guy's scary. He, like he's the one that like they're all doing something. They turn around, he's just standing there, like not moving with the machete.
Yeah, yeah. This one here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the Dollar General's shipwreck torso and arms?
Heck, the torso, yes. I believe those are. Oh God, it's one of the Rise of Cobra. It's one of the Rise of Cobra Trooper arms. I want to say. I don't have my parts breakdown in front of me.
You guys are wrong on the torso.
What?
You guys are wrong on the torso. The torso is the same figure that the arms go to. It's the Rise of Cobra Neo Viper and
yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, because you pulled off that armor piece and he had the ribbing underneath.
Yep. And then
okay.
The lower legs are Alley Vipers, and then the thighs are Shipwrecks from the 5-pack.
Well, at least I got Shipwreck.
So I'm wondering then, that head, because it doesn't say new head, is that Shadow Tracker?
Let's see it. Let me see if I want to give up the secret or not. The head, well, the mask is Shadow Tracker's.
Okay, that's cool with me.
So is there a head underneath it?
There is a head underneath it. There is a head.
Wow, I thought this was one piece.
Oh, please. Please, for the love of God, be Rise of Cobra Commander with all the pizza face. Oh my God, that would make this epic.
Fred, I love that you said that because that was the first choice.
Oh no! It didn't fit, did it?
The mask doesn't fit on the head. So I hope I don't get in trouble talking about this, but the concept case figure had the Shadow Tracker head, which was the skull underneath.
Yeah.
However, the skull, the hair plugged into that skull head. So the skull had a track mark where the hair plugged into it. So the problem was when I was, helping Laney out, I said, the Shadow Tracker head, the skull won't work. So he was like, oh, what do you think? Are there any other heads that fit? And man, I was chopping up heads for a day trying to find a head that would fit that mask. And I remember thinking like, oh, the doctor would be the best because he's all scarred up. So if you saw it through the eye holes, it would work. But unfortunately, his head's a bit too big because the Shadow Tracker is a small skull.
Yeah, he is.
But the head that fit is an interesting head. I don't know if the mask is going to be removable. It's probably going to be glued on. But he is a Dreadnought, and I would say that the head fits in that vein. So when you get it, maybe pull that mask off and see what's under there.
I like I'm not going to speculate, but I like this because, again, I'm just happy that at some point the consideration was, oh, we got to make this guy disfigured under there. We really got to lean into.
Yeah.
Best laid plans of mice and men.
So is it safe to say you actually had hands-on experience on this figure?
Well, only because we had the original sample from the concept case. So, when they were asking about this figure, we had, we were able to give some firsthand feedback on it because we had the figure from the concept case. So there was some minor tweaks made to it. But other than that, it's the concept case figure. So
let me ask you,
it's cool that they chose this one and got that one out there.
Let me ask you this then, since you were talking about different heads and everything. So when you look for stuff like that, do you have like a parts bin, or do you go by measurements, or how do you do stuff like that? Figuring out what head will fit underneath what mask.
Oh, I think Bobby may have locked up.
Oh, did he robot on us?
He's not moving.
He robot.
Either that or Bobby's now frozen in carbonite.
Ooh, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I had a good question. That was an Anderson 360 Cooper answer question.
Hopefully he can come back. I gotta say though, while we're waiting on Bobby to join us back again, Shadow Tracker, I don't know what it is. Something about seeing the preview has made me want him more than I did before. And I don't know, I can't explain it. There's just something about Dude Nahak. Oh, and the other thing he reminds me of, Mike, do you watch Arrow at all?
Oh yeah. The what's his name?
Dude, he's Wild Dog.
Yeah, Wild Dog. Yeah.
Because
I
read the comic series Wild Dog back in the early 80s, and I remember that character. So, the whole fact that he's wearing some sports gear, and he could also, if you're not going the Mad Max route, you can go the Wild Dog influence route. And either one is okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's see. Now here's the original version that they first put out before they missed the camo on it.
Oh, poor Tan Pants Dusty.
I get you guys back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yay!
I was thinking, I didn't say it, but then I was thinking it. I was like, he automatically cut it after we started prying in a little bit. I was like, man, I wonder if Savage has like a button where he's like, like the Clintons, you kind of wonder.
Dude, I told you, Savage works for the NSA.
No, but Mike, to go back to what you asked, I have a lot of bins of figure parts.
Okay.
My knowledge is pretty extensive on the parts, but every now and then I have to test these things out to make sure they fit and things like that. So, I go to the bin and check the parts, make sure, especially on that Missile Command headquarters set. I mean, those figures, as simple as they looked, were extensive because a lot of parts didn't fit with the parts I wanted to use. So, it's a lot of trial and error when you're doing figure builds. Customizers, I'm sure, can attest to that.
Oh yeah, I did.
Well, and it seems like the G.I. Joe bodies have had a lot more fluctuation in some of the proportions. Not quite the O-ring level era of the Joe versus Cobra, but they've gotten a little taller.
Yeah.
The builds have adapted since they've come back from the 25th. So I can imagine you're like, oh, this thigh is perfect, inner thigh, and this outer thigh, and you put them together, and it's like, oh,
nope.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, this was the original, what the club put out.
Oh, so much
before
better.
From what they updated to. So yeah, they had some.
Don't show me that one anymore. Show me the camo one. That one's cool.
That one's cool too. Cobra Commander. We already talked about it though.
You know what I was just realizing is that I'm trying to think back to that concept case because this was it was a Joe Con I didn't go to, so it was either
12.
It was 2013 or 14.
Well, because it wasn't 13 because I was at that was
close.
Indy.
It was 14 was in Dallas. That was my first one.
But anyway, that year that they showed him was the year of all the zombie cobras and all the
14.
ninjas that appeared to be based off the movie Five Elements Ninjas. And I'm like, you realize we've almost exhausted a good hunk of that concept case. Club, if you're listening, I want zombies and ninjas.
Yeah, they don't.
Zombies are so cool.
Oh, Zombie Cobra Commander. I freaking love that figure.
I remember seeing those for the first time because I just started at Hasbro in 2012, so I was there for about a year and a half, and I remember when Warden showed those to me, and I was like, man, these are amazing. And I was so bummed when they didn't get picked up, and but people got to see them, which is great. But would have been cool to see them out there.
So, okay, I don't know if you can answer this, and if you can't, that's totally cool, man. So when concept things are done like that, and they show them at a Joe-Con, then are those do those just pretty much go back into a storage container in a filing warehouse somewhere, unless they're used again, or what happens to some of these things like that? Does Hasbro hold on to them for a while, or?
You definitely keep all of them just because you never know when you're going to want to use that kind of thing again. So it's always good to have them on hand. But yeah, no, we have a pretty good area where we keep that stuff and make sure that it stays packed up so we have it for future use if we need to.
Awesome.
I was thinking Daryl Dupree's takes him to his house.
Dude, I'm picturing this display case, behind I used to work at the Federal Reserve, and I worked in an old vault, so we had this 3-foot metal door that swung shut every night. I'm picturing this room like that at Hasbro. I know it's not really that way, but it's all the prototypes of things that we've always wanted that never got released, and you open the door and there's the choir, and man, that's got to be epic.
All right, I'm going to switch over to this website. If you're not familiar with it, it is Cobra Island. It's kind of like Hiss, but I think it might have been around a little bit longer than Hiss. I think maybe I might be wrong on that.
I think it was. They came up around the same time.
Right. The person who is running this is Eric. Goes by Cade, or what is it? CAID.
Oh, Cobra Island arms dealer. Syed.
Yep. He is retired from Hiss and went back to running this site full time. So this is CobraIsland.com. They don't have very many, but if you're in, getting information, talking to fellow collectors and stuff of that nature, definitely go sign up here at CobraIsland.com. As you can see, they're having a party. He's RT in the back, shirtless.
Can we get the bartender bat? Because I really want one of those.
Right?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That would be amazing.
And while we're here, we're going to go ahead and hit up some information that came out. Second Star Productions shares image of a 1/1 scale Hiss tank.
Wow.
For the upcoming G.I. Joe ride. Have you all heard about this yet?
Yeah, that dropped just this week, if I
Yeah,
remember.
Trying to see if I can find the story on it.
And what's crazy about it is it's one of those licensing things that like came out of nowhere. You know, if somebody had told me, you know, in all the news that's going on right now that we would be hearing of a theme park G.I. Joe, a real American hero ride, I'd been like, yeah, you just hit your head. But because I just assumed, you know, everything coming out of Hasbro is going to be the new direction. You know, as they've said, they want to take the line, you know, in a different direction going forward with the movies. And so I was thinking, like, that's the future of the big public licenses. So a theme park ride in a 1-to-1 scale like, man, back in like junior high, I'd have been all over. I'd have waited in line at Six Flags for hours for this.
Oh, did you post this over on JBL?
No.
Okay, I was trying to find the there's actual picture of a
I think Justin's got something up at General's Joe's. Because Justin was on that this week, but
what? I have no permission to access this
Mike, generalsjoes.com.
Okay.
I know it's not a Transformers site, but
stop picking on him, Fred.
Oh, it's what we do.
Does it all the time.
I swear to God, I'm going to buy the domain tigerforce.com if it's available and just have it be Mike's avatar from the show. That's all it is. You type in Tiger Force, here's Mike's head.
I love that picture, dude. I'm going to wear the shit out of that picture. Did I spell it right?
What?
Is it General Joe's?
No. Click the blue thing. Click the blue link. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it, but
yeah. Load, damn it.
But yeah, it's crazy that and I don't know if I haven't read as much because I've been slammed at work this week. I don't know if they said, like, I know it showed up at a licensing expo. I know there was a Cobra Commander costume. I think there was a Storm Shadow there in some of the pics I saw. But I don't think they gave us a timetable for when this is going to be like a reality. You know, if this is, you know, coming to Six Flags in 2019 or anything like that. But the fact that a real American hero is still getting some love, yeah.
Yeah, here's the
me like
diorama of it. So yeah, the all-terrain dark ride is what it's called. Oh. No offense, even I know you work for Hasbro, but I'm sure there is a big license. They can't go around starting a theme park called, hey, G.I. Joe ride. You know, I'm sure they couldn't.
This is all news to me, man.
Dude, license it out to Six Flags and places like that. Then that way
we can go.
You don't have to develop anything. You just get the licensing money.
So this is what it is. So we'll see if, you know, I mean, I saw a video somewhere where I guess they're riding on like this terrain. They showed this. They've shown the hiss now. So, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's my favorite G.I. Joe vehicle in there.
Yeah, what's that?
The Vamp.
I think I saw you say that somewhere.
You ride around, I think, in a 4-seater Vamp. Again,
yeah. Back
in junior high and late grade school, that would have blown my mind. Like, just because the Vamp was one of the most bad to the bone toys I had, because one of my friends, well, it's the first one I had for Joe, and one of my friends decided he thought it was cool to drive it down the stairs in my house, and I'm like, no, and that thing held up.
You know what I was wondering about is, with Joe being in such a great toy time and Power Wheels, you know, being at their peak then as well, why did we never get like a skinned Power Wheel that was like a Vamp or a Hiss Tank or a Triple T? I was like, man, what I wouldn't give for like a Triple T when I was a kid. Like a big Triple T? Come on.
Dude.
It's a no-brainer. They dropped the ball big time on that.
Bobby, if you ever get a time machine, go back in time, find Kirk Baziggy, and go, dude, this, now. $1 million idea.
Power Wheels.
Here, I'm going to play this video. I don't know if we'll get the volume or not, but I think this is the video from the concept ride. Can you hear it?
No. We're gonna have one of these days we're gonna go through a tutorial. There's got to be a way to stream this through. Oh wow.
Can you not hear it?
Nope. That's okay. Just let it play, man.
God, I can hear it plain as day.
Is that a golf cart? That's a golf cart vamp.
Fred, you could totally make that.
Oh my God, it's like Caddyshack. Now I want one. Yeah, dude, I'm not hearing anything.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what?
Dragon Rider, what they're calling it.
It's
like
still
an upgraded
cool.
package.
It's probably an entertainment company that has a package of different licenses, you know, and concepts that you can go. And I don't know if it'll be like at a Six Flags or if it'd be more like some of the independent theme parks out there, but it's still pretty awesome. Again, G.I. Joe is getting coverage. And that guy is not... Oh, go ahead, dude.
What if they did trouble bubbles that were like the things in Jurassic World, like the big hamster ball that he was in?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
You know
what?
Dumbest vehicle ever. Here you go.
Okay, trouble bubble. I never understood one thing. So the bubble comes over the front, you know, and it's open in the front, which is the direction that's going into the wind, which means the wind is going to go inside and create all this resistance and want to blow the canopy off. That always messed with my head as a kid. And every time I played with one, it went too fast, the canopy blew off, and it always crashed. Also, the jetpack tended to fall off really easily. That was the same era as the Silver Mirage, which has the distinction of being possibly one of the most fragile G.I. Joe vehicles of all time.
Well, because it's got that weird thing that, like, hey, I'm going to sit on this motorcycle and have this weird part that comes up over my back and holds me onto the bike, but doesn't really hold me onto the bike.
No, and like unlike the Ram, which had those killer pegs on the side, that you could put the figure in there, and man, they weren't coming off. like they were glued. You know, it was almost like they were glued in. The Silver Mirage, like the handlebars would come off on mine all the time. So again, a lot of Joes crashed and flew off with the handlebars, and you know, Doc had to come in and save them. Hey, Mike, did we talk about rock and roll last time?
Yeah, can you hear me?
If I say no, will you stop talking? I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm so mean to him tonight.
I'm just having some issues with my head jacks.
Okay, we'll filibuster for you.
Go ahead. Let me find you the picture, and then I'll let y'all talk.
We did get for those of you who didn't get your club newsletter. It was because we had Mike's Rick was good enough to send us a picture from the newsletter of Rock and Roll, which was previewed, and that's the concept case Rock and Roll. When you got your newsletter, it did confirm that he's only going to come with one Vulcan gun. So he's coming with the Vulcan, and he's got that auto shotgun with him. So I know there was some speculation out there of, was he going to come with two? Did they just show one? So for some folks, that's kind of the bad news. The good news is if you go on eBay, you can buy those Vulcan machine guns ridiculously cheap. I got a whole set of Rock and Roll accessories this week for like $6. And so I've got an extra now because he's going to come with one. But and the other thing about Rock and Roll, a lot of people have kind of lost their minds over the deco. And it's funny because the deco is brighter than what we saw in the concept case. So people are freaking out. The deco is very comic book accurate. It is really close to that comic cover where he's with the Mounties. And it's like 97, I want to say, where he's just standing there. And you're like, I don't care if he's going to blow through all that ammo in 37 seconds. That is the coolest set of guns ever. Like, you could just cut down it's like that scene in Predator. You can just mow down a forest.
That's old Painless.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like,
That's what I named my Sawzall. I got a really nice DeWalt Sawzall, and I named it Old Painless because it's Old Painless. So when I was working on my house and I pull it out, I'm like, ooh, I got Old Painless out.
Tell me you put on the hat and started spitting out the side.
Oh, I do. and then when I cut myself, my wife's like, "Hey, you're cut. You're bleeding." I'm like, "I ain't got time to bleed."
Nice.
Here's that picture, Fred. You know what was wrong with my headset? It came unplugged from the head part. I didn't realize it. I was sitting here unplugging it, replugging. What the hell's the problem here? Anyways, that's the picture that Rick had sent me. I don't know if you saw this or not, but I don't know if he sent it to me in a private message on Twitter or if he posted on. I think he posted it on Twitter. He tagged you, and he was like, "I know you're not throwing rocks from that Crystal Palace of yours, Mike." Talking about his iPhone 4.
Oh, but you know, again, a lot of people are freaking out about the deco. I don't think it looks bad at all. In fact, I think in some ways he doesn't have as much color in the camo and the legs, but the overall, if you look at that where he's only got the 2-tone camo versus the 3-tone, it looks like he's actually got more color on the club version. So,
and I think at the end of the day, we just have to stop and think, hey, we're getting a rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
Rock and roll, right?
He was the last of the 2013 concept case figures, I think, that was outstanding, because we got Gung Ho, we got Flint, we got Destro, Storm Shadow V2. Like, man, that reveal was nothing short of epic that year, and he was the holdout. Now, am I sad that he didn't come out as I'd heard he was intended to come with I think it was a Vamp in a vehicle pack? Yes, because more Vamp equals more good. But yeah, he's still coming out, and that's all that matters. At least to me.
After when I was listening to you guys talk about it on the last podcast, and you guys were talking about how he didn't come with the two Vulcans, I was like, you know what, I get it, but I have a really good reasoning why they probably did that. And I think it was because I was just watching Star Trek Into Darkness the other day, and the scene where Khan shows up and he's wearing the hood and he's got a laser rifle and then a bazooka. And I'm like, oh, I totally get it, because you only have one dominant hand. At least most people do. So you want the most powerful weapon in your one dominant hand, because you got to be able to hold that thing. So if you had two Vulcans, two bazookas, one of you is going to be off, and your aim's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So why not have a lesser powerful, more accurate rifle in your less dominant hand, and then the more powerful, I'm going to mow down the shit out of you, gun in your more dominant hand. So it makes sense why he only has one. I mean, I'm just trying to like play devil's advocate here, but
no, but you know what? And also, he can now hold all his accessories.
There you go.
Because that, if I have a pet peeve when it comes to figures, I like to be able to display them with everything held, you know, as opposed to having bits where I'm tucking it, you know, by the stand and all that. And he, you know, he'll have his shotgun in his offhand, which is a ridiculous, if you think about it, man, that guy's offhand weapon is a shotgun. Things are going to blow up. And then he's got the Vulcan. And also, the club had to retool that Vulcan because that didn't exist anymore. So when's the last time that one of our renewal figures, which is the freebie, came with a newly tooled accessory? Because Big Lob didn't, Frostbite didn't. Oh, Cross Country had the wrench, but that's a pretty substantial accessory. So
is he the 13th figure? Is Rock and Roll the 13th figure?
He's the membership renewal so as long as you're an active member by whatever the date is in March. I know it's usually around the early teens. Mm-hmm. You'll get him in the mail. So he's like this. He's next year's version of Big Lob.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a heck of a renewal figure. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's pretty solid.
You know, I want to throw this out here, and you know, most of the renewal figures have always been been carded at JoeCon. So would that weapon actually fit in a carded?
If you make it deep enough.
One will.
And here's another thing I want to throw out there is that usually the renewal figure that we get at JoeCon is usually kind of one of the guests that show up for the show. If you go back to past ones, it's usually so. Who voiced rock and roll?
Oh crap! You would ask that.
So that could be kind of a hint on what we could be. I'm just throwing it because Big Lob last year we had Brad Sanders.
He could also be the club occasionally does take the renewal figure and recolor it or repurpose parts from it for another character. I mean, the Dial Tone head got 2 reuses. Mm-hmm. Frostbite came out in the Tiger Force version.
Oh, yes, Stop it.
So there's a little bit of a precedent there. I don't know. If he gets repurposed in a con set, and we've seen that hardball launcher floating around, is next year's con set just going to be everything blows up? Is it literally going to be Armageddon? It's just the biggest weapons ever? Because if you're going to go out with a bang, man.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I dig this figure in a big way. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, let's face it, he's the last one.
Yeah.
Unless the club gets some kind of extension again, and it kind of makes sense. HasCon, the next one is coming in 2019. So the club gets 2018. And this is, they can go out and, we're already getting Night Stalkers. We're hopefully getting Heart Wrencher at some point with the Dreadnought Assault Vamp. Please make this happen. So the club's doing a fair amount of stuff. And it's kind of, I don't know.
So, Bobby, tell us what your plan is there for your room. You told us off air, but tell the people about it.
For what?
Your plan for your room, how you plan on putting it all out.
Well, I mean, I have a plan in mind. It's hard to say because I have so much shit, but I have a really large room. I'm lucky enough to have a gigantic Joe room. But I can tell you right now, all the way in the back, against that back wall there, that's where the flag is going to go. So I'm going to have a display for the flag. It's going to be set up for the first time. That's where that'll go. Along the walls over here, the way I set my figures up, I have 1x3s that go along the wall. And then the file card goes behind the figure, and they're set up in order through dates. So it goes from 82 to 94. So that wall will probably be all 82 to 94 for sure will fit over there. The back wall by the flag is going to be when 07 starts, because anything from, I shouldn't say 97 because I still appreciate some of that stuff, but man, I don't dig Vala versus Venom or Joe versus Cobra. None of that stuff exists. Sigma Sig doesn't exist to me. It goes 82 to 94 and then 07 to now. So on the back wall, we'll start 07 and then I'll stretch around here, and that's where all the club stuff will be and more modern day stuff. I got some glass cases where some of my more rare stuff will go. In front of me is where all my artwork will go, my flat screen. And then I got, I'm sitting in one now. I got these really nice, leather smoking chairs. I got 2 of them behind me.
Oh, nice.
They'll kind of be flanked here. And then, so you can kind of sit here. You can sit here with an old fashioned and watch, a movie or something and enjoy my Joe room. And then behind the chairs, I got to find like a high top bar table. And that's where the Terradrome is going to go. Right on top of that is like a nice centerpiece. So those are the plans for the Joe room, which hopefully will be done by mid-December. That's the goal.
That's going to be like Club Joe in there. Holy cow.
Club Joe is right. And
you
then
see how
man, that's dangerous.
And I got to find a nice area for my Steel Brigade section. There's got to be a whole area for just Steel Brigade. I got a ton of that stuff. So that needs some love.
You see how he said those 1 years didn't exist at all?
Oh, don't even.
They don't exist. They're not Joe.
Do you know that's what got me back into Joe big time? Was look, there's some crappy proportions, and you have people with their waists up to their armpits, and arms down to their ankles, but that same era gave us some pretty cool stuff. We got characters like Crosshair and Wide Scope and Bomb Strike and Barrel Roll, and new characters.
That's the tough part for me, is when the club does a nice modern day figure and it's based off of a figure from that era. I'm like, oh man. Now I get them all. I don't leave no man behind, but I'm just kind of like, well, it's not really my era, but it's modern day, so I gotta have it.
Now, by the way, I was just looking up Rock and Roll's voice actor, which, by the way, is still alive. Will Ryan, he voiced Footloose and Rock and Roll. So
I can't see them bringing him back because he's already been there for Footloose.
Dude, who cares? Bring him back. Bring them all back. But,
they should bring back a whole mess of them.
Voice actor. Look, with G.I. Joe, unfortunately, outside of like sculptors and designers, and because we're never going to get movie actors because Channing Tatum sucks, but
why would you want him there anyway?
And I don't think we'll get Dwayne Johnson. It'd be awesome. It'd be amazing. Our ticket prices would triple, but voice actors are this huge, pool that they can draw from. And when I was there in 2013, one of the coolest things of all of JoeCon was sitting at a panel and seeing Bill Ratner and Mary McDonnell Lewis doing Flint and Lady J's voices live on stage. Like, man, I was 10 years old again, running home from school to watch G.I. Joe as a cartoon and loving every minute of it.
You hear Lady J's sexy, raspy voice. Oh.
And what's crazy is she looks, if you guys have seen Mary McDonnell Lewis, she, especially when around that age, Lady J pretty much looked like her.
Yeah.
It's uncanny how much, because she still looks kind of like that. I mean, I know a lot of people like Scarlett, but man, when you talk about no nonsense, tough as nails, female Joes, Lady J, man, front and center.
I was always a Lady J fan over Scarlett. Always.
Oh yeah,
always.
You think that's good? You should have went to 14 because you had Michael Bell, Michael McConaughey.
Michael McConaughey.
Did I say his name wrong?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking Matthew McConaughey. God, Fred, shut up.
Yeah, Fred, shut up.
Mr. All right, all right, all right.
He's all right now, apparently. You already came out of the closet.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was those two, Michael Dobson and the lady that did Scarlet. I have a brain fart all of a sudden.
BJ Ward.
Yeah, they were all there on stage doing a script reading together.
I love the fact that the club does those script readings.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Hoffman and, oh, shoot, can't think of his name. I'm blanking on his name. Does Mindbender. Just a crazy nice guy. But people would walk up to him and he'd be like, "Oh, it's Dr. Mindbender." He just jumped right into it.
Dude, when we the golden ticket, I've gone golden ticket every year, he came to our table and just sat down and started talking Mindbender. I'm telling you, if you're going to go this year, man, you can swing it, man. You need to do the golden ticket, man.
This year's going for broke, man. I cleared all my credit card debt this year, so.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to run it all back up, club, if you're listening, but at the same time, I think this year is go big or go home.
Yeah, golden ticket's funny because the dinner, they walk around and and I've been to the BotCon one. I didn't care for it, but it's like they come and they eat, and then they come and sit with the people and eat and talk, and they're not supposed to do autographs or pictures, but they do it anyways because they want to.
Yeah.
Like the first year I did it, Larry Hama came up to our table, started talking, and he was ready to leave. He's like, "Y'all got anything you want me to sign?" And you're like, "Well, we're not supposed to," but it doesn't matter. And he just you know, that's just how cool it was.
What are they gonna do? Tell him no?
I know, right?
And Larry's one of the coolest, most unassuming people you'll ever meet. You know, in terms of someone that if you look at Larry's career, and it's funny, a lot of people don't think about this. Not just G.I. Joe, which is still it's an unprecedented amount, almost unprecedented amount of issues that he wrote. I don't know if Claremont beats him for X-Men or not. I think it's close. It would be between those two for continuous run. But on top of it, the bulk of the original Wolverine solo series, the parts, a lot of the Weapon X stuff and the stuff with Sabretooth and the memory implants and all of that was all during Larry's run. And people don't think of that. It's like he didn't create the character, but man, like Wolverine would not be Wolverine without Larry Hama's time on that book. And when I interviewed him one time and I said, like, what was it like to write Wolverine? And he says, when I realized he was Snake Eyes, but he could talk. And I went, holy crap, you're kind of not wrong. So let me ask this to you, gentlemen, because Mike already said apparently another shipment's coming. Did you both get your FSS figures, and have you torn them open yet? And what did you think?
Have you not seen my hack review yet?
Oh, dude, this is what the weekend is for. I'm ridiculously behind on everything.
Oh,
I watched TV this week.
Yeah, I did. I loved them. The Crosshairs, I actually liked it more than I planned on. Once I saw the pictures, because John had posted some pictures when he got his, and I was like, wow, those looked really, really good, and I was surprised that those were the first two, especially Hardtop. I wasn't expecting him until maybe like the middle.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I enjoyed both of them. I usually don't open mine, but those I actually went ahead and know. I think this series for sure I want to open all of them, except for the one that looks like Weird Al. I already got him pre-sold.
Wait, which one?
Oh, the bald-headed one.
Dojo?
Who? The Ninja?
Dojo.
Oh, yeah.
Dojo. Yeah, I got Dojo. So I don't collect the Ninja ones.
You're
like
gonna
that.
get rid of Dojo? Come on.
Yeah, Dojo.
Wait a minute.
I don't get none of the other ones.
You're keeping Windmill and you're getting rid of Dojo?
I didn't say I wasn't keeping. Is Windmill in this set? I'll get rid of Windmill.
Yes,
but
yes,
no one's gonna buy Windmill.
Fun School Windmill, man.
Fun School Windmill.
Comes with his own ceiling fan.
We didn't want that one. We didn't want the other one. You have to forgive me. I'm looking down here. I forgot. I have a live chat going on. I forget to look at it every week. So
you're half paying attention to us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm half-assing it tonight. I'm so sorry.
Tiger Force sucks. I mean, hey, Mike.
Hey, dude.
Whoa! I'm still listening. I'm still listening.
Man, I'm outnumbered. It's like the claws came out there.
Yeah. The only time I'll turn my back on Tiger Force is if you're talking about Steel Brigade. Then I'm like, all right, well, if there's only one, there's only Steel Brigade.
So then what do you think of, was it Red Laser's figure, the Tiger Force Steel? Did that blow your mind?
Where is he? Hold on. 1 second.
I was wondering if that was ever going to come up.
I gotta find the list.
We'd have to do the screen darkened, but I really want to reach out to Red Laser and get them to come on, because I think it would be fascinating to hear those guys talk through what they've had to go through to recover old molds and do all of this and bring O-Ring back to life. I keep expecting to see Bobby's screen and figures are just flying over his head as he's no, that's just not the right one.
I can't find him. But I don't buy any customs, but the only customs I will buy are Steel Brigade customs. So anything Black Major or Red Laser does. Now Red Laser did a set, and it was Tiger Force Steel Brigade, it was Sky Patrol, and it was Night Force. So here's the Night Force one. So I was able to dig that one out. But yes, I have the Tiger Force Steel Brigade figure, which, hey, it's like an Oreo. one side's great, the other side's great. Put them together. What do you got? Something awesome. So, yeah, Tiger Force Steel Brigade. The only thing we're missing from Red Laser, and I wish I knew the people that did it so I could tell them, like, hey, there's 2 more Steel Brigade figures I need, and that's Eco Force and Slaughter's Marauders.
Oh, dude. You know, why I may be in the minority, but why has the club or someone not done Slaughter's Marauders in an FSS? Because we got the Hasbro set, which had some of the team, but there's no Slaughter's Marauders Mutt. And there's no Slaughter's Marauders Footloose. The club has done Footloose. And that would be an awesome inclusion, because I think they are going to try FSS 8, I believe.
Yeah, that's a good.
That would be a solid inclusion in FSS 8.
Yeah.
I really hate saying FSS, first of all.
Oh, it's saying, sucks, doesn't it?
FSS 7. Like, I was doing a Facebook Live, and I'm like, FFF. Like, no, it sounded like, Sylvester the Cat. That's despicable. But, yeah, like some Slaughter's Marauders loving. Like we have not had much outside, which, by the way, that 7-pack is probably one of my favorite things that Hasbro's released in the last so many years, because I got my Renegades in it.
Well, both of them. I mean, both those 7-packs were phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Oh, I wish I'd bought extras, and I didn't. I was stupid and didn't get, because Big Bad had that deal where you could get the 2 new sets, and then they threw in the 2 Resolute sets as well.
Oh, wow.
And I think the Resolute sets were only like $10 each if you bought the other 2. It was a 4, So of course I bought it, and I have my carded Resolutes, still up on the shelf as long as because I have like 4 sets of each of those. But I never doubled down the Dreadnoks, and that, and I kicking myself to this day, because my God, the secondary on those is through the roof.
Yeah.
Now, did you get your FSS?
I didn't get mine yet. They should be here soon. So,
wow. Okay.
Crossed.
So who are you looking forward to more, Hardtop or Crosshairs, from your favorite era?
Hardtop for sure. I mean, I think Hardtop is a beautiful figure. For as simple as he is, he's just awesome looking. Their build on him was perfect. It was perfect. I don't think I would have done anything different than what they did. He was great. We needed him. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to him for sure.
Now all we need is a payload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the coolest detail on Hardtop, because I haven't opened mine yet, because I need to photograph them carded, the turtleneck and the lining on the sleeves. Like, man, that's one of those little details that the club does every so often, and you're just like 80s slow clap.
Man, the club knows what they're doing. I know a lot of people, give them some shit every now and then, and like, I'll tell you something, those guys, they work hard, and they put out a good product. I'm not just saying that because we're kind of tied with them. I'm saying it because as a Joe fan, I think what they're doing is awesome. It's great that they're fans too, and they love Joe, and they put the love into that kind of stuff. And every now and then, you miss something like camo on Dusty, but then they catch it. It's same thing with Salvo. I mean, they put it out and they heard people and they listen, and it's nice when people listen to what people are saying, because they could have just said, nah, this is what we're doing, so just take it. But no, they were like, hey, you're right. Let's redo that build. So it's nice to see them kind of doing that.
I think you bring up Salvo, and I think Salvo was a case where all the sites that encouraged people to go to the club on the preview and voice their opinions, it was JBL, Generals Joe's, I think Hiss, everybody who directed them back there said, keep it constructive, because you're not going to win anyone over if you're like, hey, this sucks, you guys are stupid. But if you come back and say, hey, you know what? I remember a lot of people were throwing out that roadblock, the rock road. I can't say rock and roadblock in the same sentence. So the retaliation roadblock body, a lot of people were like, hey, you have an alternative out here. Let's do this, and the constructive criticism was done in a positive way. The club listened, and look at what happened. Granted, his knees are a little wonky, but you know, can't get him to stand.
What do you think will be the next shipment we'll get?
Oh boy, what do
I know what I have an idea. I'm thinking we're going to get one of the. I think we're going to get the Worms officer,
Oh, the Rocketeer.
the Rocketeer, and
I love the fact that he looks like the Rocketeer.
I think we
I
might
love
get
Rocketeer.
Sub-Zero, or it might be Windmill.
You know, I would hope the club would do Sub-Zero because we're going into the time. I mean, we're in Illinois, north of us. They got our first snowfall. We're due to get snow tomorrow night. I love it when cold weather figures arrive when it's snowy, as opposed to the year that I got the Desert Scorpion snowfall here in Illinois. And so I'm outside, and I actually shot pictures of him for the review where the Desert Scorpion's like out in the snow, like so cold, because, you know, it just was crazy. But I would love to be able to shoot Sub-Zero in snow. So I'd kind of hope he'd be. Trying to remember who else is in that. I almost don't think we're going to get Tomax for a bit. I think they're going to hold off on him. I was Zaymot. I'm sorry, Zaymot.
Which one are you looking at?
The current one, Zaymot's shipping. Tomax is coming, is in the next one, but Zaymot's in the one that's shipping now.
No, he came out last year.
Dude!
Oh, God bless him. What am I doing?
Even I knew
Sorry.
that was wrong.
Wow.
Okay, I got the picture up. Leave me alone.
What's in that big cup?
It's really not Burger King soda.
I'm still trying to get with the fact that little doll over there with his pants down his knees.
Can you guys see that? Oh, that's hilarious.
Apparently so.
That is a miniature version of one of our art directors here at work. And when our office is behind a Kmart that closed, and so when they were clearancing, I went over there and we bought doll clothes and this giant wrestling figure because it looks like my buddy Jason, who was on vacation. And when he came back, we had taken this stupid plastic figure all around town and shot pictures with it and gave him a photo album of our week with little Jay.
Oh.
He was at a bar. You get really crazy looks dragging that thing into a kid's playground. That's all I'm saying. All right, so who would I want to see? I'll tell you, the ones I would want to see if they were going to... I want to see Rampart and Verona, because I'm looking forward to those.
I was kind of hoping her, but I think they're gonna wait on that one till either mid or the end.
I'd also take Captain Skip. Simple build, but he looks good.
Yeah.
But just for Mike, it's going to be... Mike's going to get 2 dojos.
Oh,
Could you imagine if he opened it up and it was 2 JoJos? He came up and he was like, I actually got 2 JoJos.
Let me tell you what, the first thing I always do now is I check the nameplates on the figure.
Oh.
I look for anything that might show me what the 13th... I think it's supposed to be a female again, isn't it? Or do you remember?
I thought you said male.
Okay, maybe I thought maybe male was for the next one. I don't know what it is.
You know what I keep thinking is, I would love to see the head from the Visionaries Leoric dropped onto the Tomax, Zaymot, Professor X, Joe Colton suited body. Come on, man, Hector Ramirez. We have Scoop with a camera. We need Hector Ramirez. That would be... My little sunbow-filled heart would explode with joy.
Watch that be the 13th or be in FSS 8.
Oh.
Fellas, give me 1 minute. I will be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I would pretty much be okay with... Well, realistically, as long as I don't get 2 windmills, I'm going to be happy with the next one.
You just don't want 1 windmill.
I don't know what... Did you ever see the Fun School windmill?
Yeah, the original figure on TV?
The original figure for Fun School Windmill.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So I love the fact that he's just a repaint of the American figure, except they took the time to tool a backpack that is nothing more than a stick and a propeller blade.
Oh.
And he literally, at least this one has a helicopter pack, because the other one literally just stood there in the wind and showed you wind speed. Like, dude, he's a weather station with legs. So, as much crap as we give this windmill, you know, and I think Bobby would be surprised to hear me say this, but and even though this one has more realistic colors, I'd still rather he came out with his vintage color scheme because dude who wears orange pants, he's afraid of nothing. Plus, he and Skidmark could hang out. They're actually the reverse color scheme of each other. So, all right. So who's your? So yeah, that I think that I don't know who's going to be in the next shipment. Who do you think the next previews are going to be?
Oh, they're going in order.
They really have been.
They've gone right in order. So Jinx is next.
Crap!
What?
So come Tuesday. Now, do you think? Well, here's the thing. Then, what's their schedule going to be? Because they've been going Tuesday, Thursday.
Thursday's Thanksgiving. They could still throw something out on the holiday.
Yeah, but would people see it as much? I mean, people are going to be in a turkey-induced coma from overeating that day. And they haven't announced a Black Friday sale this year either.
No, they have not.
Damn, I got some good deals last year. What was it last?
They got much of anything left. Let me tell you what. After 2018. When 2019 rolls around, they're going to come out of the woodwork with some stuff because that's what they did for the Transformers, man. They had all kinds of archive stuff, a box set that was autographed by like 4 or 5 people. But of course, they won it. What did it start like $1,700?
Man, so I could finally try to complete that Mission Brazil convention set that I didn't go to because I really want that Python Patrol, Stinger.
Oh, good thing you cleared out space on your credit card. That's an expensive set.
Oh, I have the figures. Thank God. I was. Do you remember the year? And I don't remember what the deal was, but they came back out and they said that I don't know if they had extras or how it went out, but they said like, oh, if you bought the box set, we still have some bag sets left, and they offered them up for sale. I had a good friend. It was Justin Bell, who had bought a box set and not a bagged set. And so I was able to get that bag set for cost.
You're a lucky man because I paid $1,000 for mine.
Jeez. Somewhere I have a picture of Sparta sprawled out Playboy style, and I have 2 of the others holding an index card that says, "Thanks, Justin." And I sent it to him that night. I'll have to dig that out.
Fred, did you say you're looking for the Stinger?
That Python Patrol Stinger. If the club ever puts those up, I'm going to try to track one down.
I mean, I'm not a vehicles guy. I'm just a figures guy. So if you wanted my Stinger, I would part with my Stinger. Not the driver though.
No, the driver. Just
we might talk. We might talk. Let me. I got a little bit of siding I need to have repaired on the house now, and then after that, we might be talking come December.
I'll take care of you.
That you know, it's funny. I'm usually repaints I love hate with. There is something magical about that Python deco.
It's great.
You can. I saw somebody once Pythoned a flag, and
I've seen that too.
My first thought was, "My God, why did you do that to a flag?" And then the more I looked at it, I'm like,
I get it.
But that's kind of awesome.
Did you see the Python?
Python deco? Steel Brigade needs Python deco.
Who does?
Steel Brigade needs Python deco.
Oh.
No, there was a Python one done on it was a custom. It was the Defiant.
Wow. Holy crap. That's
like
a Star Trek cloaked ship at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome looking though.
Oh. I'll tell you the build that, you know, I've got the list up. So we know the next FSS preview is since they're going in order, it's going to be Mike Tuesday is going to be bouncing off the walls because it's Tiger Force Jinx. I kind of want to skip ahead and skip Ice Viper Officer and go straight to Budo. My fingers are crossed that Budo is going to be what I'm hoping he is because I'm going to credit Devil's Due. When they started doing the special missions comics and all that, they made Budo freaking awesome. The whole thing with Budo and Jinx and living in Japan, and they had him working on the motorcycles because that's part of his backstory. I'm like, Budo became awesome.
Fred, I will say this. When you see Budo, if you don't like Budo, we cannot be friends anymore.
Oh.
Man, that's like pressure.
I'll tell you right now, he looks amazing.
Okay, nope. That
looks amazing.
I like the retaliation figure for a samurai.
Sure, but it's not. He's not
Budo. I mean, I'm not dissing the quality that went into it, but
sure.
Man, when I think Budo was kind of cool because he was that weird fusion of modern and traditional. He made modern samurai work.
Well, you also have to think they did, because that same body was Bludgeon for that Comic-Con set for that year. So I understand them reusing that tooling, you know. But yeah, the Budo figure is great, but you're gonna love this Budo figure.
New, and I'll tell you, I'm all a tingle when I see new head sculpt. To me, the best parts of Joe growing up, one of the coolest things was that there were so few reused heads outside of 82.
Yeah.
And then later, was it Rapid Fire and Super Trooper? But there were so few reused heads. Even Sky Patrol, all reused bodies, brand new heads, every one of them. And that's what gave them the personality. You could look at those sculpts and read the file card, and you could see the personality of this character, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Oh, so okay. Now you've just made it worse because Budo is probably not going to be until the week after Thanksgiving. If they're going Tuesday, Thursday, man, I'm going to be like hitting F5 every 10 minutes.
I hope they wait and show him last.
Oh, you're killing me, Small. Oh, this is for the Tiger Force comments, isn't it?
There you go. Before you're ready to call a show here in a few minutes, but I want to, in 2 weeks will be December 2nd. It'll be our last show of the year. I don't know a date yet that we'll pick back up in July. I'm still waiting on Josh to decide how he's going to do it. It'll be January, but I'm still debating on how we're doing, because I don't want to schedule my show that he schedules his show, since I work on that show too. So I want to make our shows. But of course, we'll definitely, if anything comes up of major importance, like registration or con sets or whatever, then we'll make an exception and work it some way or another to get that information out to everybody, or maybe not the information, more of our thoughts and our laughter about it, or whatever the case may be. Also, with the next show will be our 1 year anniversary show. We're still working on some a special guest, and since Bobby's on here, maybe he can put a word in for me with a big double D. I've turned in an email. I talked to him a couple times, and then I turned in an email per his request through the what was that email I had to send Fred?
The Hasbro
PR department.
We're good friends. I'll see what I can do for you.
Just say, hey, guys, they might be some shit talkers, but they're cool guys to talk to. So that's where my goal is to have him for at least, if he give me 30 minutes, I'll be tickled freaking pink.
Guy loves talking Joe.
I know. I want him more because he's a fan of Joe more than where his position stands with Hasbro. Yeah. I prefer to have him on here as a fan. Of course, we want to ask him the questions of certain, how did HasCon go? Or did you enjoy it? Were you on before HasCon or after HasCon?
Before. I think before. Right before.
So how'd that work out for you? How did you enjoy it?
HasCon, I thought it was great. Because I was there for the Marvel end of things, so I was at our booth, and the reception was great. I thought there was a ton of people there. I didn't expect it to be as many people, and it was great to see all kinds of people coming, fans, and people with their kids. It was great. It was also they did. I think it was the Thursday before it opened. They did like Hasbro family night, so I was able to bring like my wife and my son and my mother-in-law, and it's like they got to see like how big Hasbro is and all the brands we have, and it's like to see it on that scale is pretty crazy. And I got to show them stuff I worked on, so that was kind of fun. But HasCon was great, and then Daryl got me into the Joe Legends there.
Cool,
it's really awesome. you know, I became friends with James Cavanaugh not too long ago, and I was able to actually meet him in person for the first time there. So, and then I met, you know, some other guys that now, you know, Joe fans that do their own podcasts and things like that. And I've gotten in touch with these guys, and Justin and Chris and all those guys have been great. So it was great for me to like kind of get out there and like meet these people. And now like they knew who I was. And I was talking to Carson from 3D Joe's, and he was at the Marvel booth, and I said, "Hey, you're Carson, right?" And he goes, "Hey, you're Bobby Vala, right?" And I'm like, wait, you know who I am? He's like, "Yeah, you did the Missile Command Center." I'm like, "Oh yeah," like, you know, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on, you know, Mike and Fred's podcast." You know, so I was talking to him. I own a piece of file card artwork, you know, so I was telling him like, "Hey, when you get to this year, you know, I have it, you know, I'll scan it in, I'll send it to you for the book and stuff like that." So, you know, meeting those guys was cool. The most surreal moment that happened for me at HasCon was at the Legends dinner. I'm standing, it was right when it was wrapping up, and I'm standing there, and it's me, and it's Daryl and Ron Rudat. And someone comes over to Daryl to sign the Missile Command Headquarters, and Daryl signs it. And then the guy hands it to Ron and says, you know, and Ron signs it, and then Ron hands it to me, and he goes, "Well, now you have to sign it." And it was like, whoa. I was like, wait a second. I'm going to sign something that you two guys just signed? And it's like, well, yeah, you worked on it. I'm like, well, it was like real, like, and I like my hand was shaking as I'm like, like, this is so weird. Like, but it was so cool at the same time, because I was like, wow, like I shared a moment with Ron and Daryl, and it's like now the three of our signatures are on one of these. And I wish I wish I knew who the guy was that had that set, because I'm like, wow, that's so cool that I think he's got the only one out there that all three of us have signed. So that's pretty cool. Because me, I was there as a fan, and someone's coming to me like, "Hey, you're somebody." And I'm like, I'm not really somebody, but you know, it's cool to like now like be more involved with the Joe community, and that's really what I wanted to do. And it's like I'm not on social media. James tells me, he's like, "Oh, why don't you just make a ghost account so you can just be on social media?" But you know, maybe, you know. But I'm trying to like stay in touch with people and meet as many people as I can, because the Joe community is small, but man, is it tight. So,
yeah,
you know, meeting people that are fans of this stuff, it's like we're all, you know, we're not against each other, because it's like we all love the brand, and it's like we're all for the same thing. More Joe. We love Joe. More Joe. Like that's what it's all about. So, to me, you know, it's great. It's, you know, yeah, I work at Hasbro, and yeah, I'm lucky enough to be able to be immersed in that sense. But at the same time, it's like I was a Joe fan before I worked at Hasbro. Joe was it for me. So, you know, Hasbro was just able to amplify it a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're Joe fans, man.
I'm telling you, you know, the thing that you said about HasCon that made me the happiest of all of it, and as awesome as the Ron story is, because that's pretty awesome. You said families with their kids.
Yeah.
And if you when I first went to JoeCon about 2005, there were still a lot of people that brought their kids, you know, and they had like the obstacle course with the remote control tanks and, you know, things like that. And it was cool because Joe was still being out for kids. That was, you know, yes, it's not your favorite era, but you know, but it was a time when the brand was still retargeted toward kids too. And it was awesome to see a shared generational thing that a parent who grew up with it now has a kid that's excited about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll get there again someday.
Sure.
But the fact that Hasbro is recognizing that with their brands, like, I know a lot of people are like, well, but it's not JoeCon. You know what? It's different. It's not going to be JoeCon.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that it's getting the family thing again.
And they weren't trying to replace JoeCon or copy San Diego. I think they were just said, we want to do our own thing to celebrate our brands, and we want everyone to come. We don't want it to just be hardcore fans or family. We want it, you know, I think one of their taglines was fan-milly. So it was like, you know, to get like that was smart. Yeah. So we got a lot of that. It was great being in the Marvel booth. And, you know, I was at one point by our Legends area, and I did all the role play, the Iron Man helmet, the Star-Lord helmet. And kids were coming up and they just wanted to try on all the helmets. So I was letting them try on these big helmets, which was great. You know, that stuff is so cool, you know, seeing people come through and just really appreciating what you do. And then, of course, there were fans there, you know, so talking with the fans. And there were a lot of people that I got to know through going to San Diego and Toy Fair and like New York Comic Con that made the trip out to HasCon. It was great to see them. They came to our panel, and you know that stuff is cool because you get to know these people, and to be able to see them another time throughout the year was really great. So to me, I thought it was a great experience. I loved it. I wish we were doing it again for 2018, but you know they're taking a year off and then doing it again for 19, which is great. But I'm glad we're doing it again. So
well, it built anticipation, you know. Having it be every other year, because isn't Star Wars Celebration, I think, is not every year. It's every couple of years.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I just wish it's funny. HasCon is once again on my mom's birthday weekend. So it's like, oh, mom's going to be like, let's see. She's oh, crap. She'll be 90.
Bring her to HasCon.
Wow. I totally should. I'll be like, remember all that stuff you bought me as a kid? Boom.
That's right, because your parents, they just celebrate their 50th anniversary, didn't they?
Today is their 50th wedding anniversary, and I'm really hoping Dad remembered to do something.
You better hope he just remembered.
Well, I saw him last night, so that was one of the things. And Mom's like, well, you know what tomorrow is? And, you know, when your mother asks you that and you're an only child, you better come up with something quick.
Right.
Do you know how many times I forget like my parents' like birthdays? I'm like the worst son ever. I'm terrible with dates, like terrible. And I know we live in an age where there's smartphones and you can put that stuff in and it will tell you. But I remember last year it was like 8 o'clock at night on my mom's birthday, and my stepdad texts me. He goes, "Hey, you know it's your mother's birthday," and I'm like, "Oh shit, let me call her real quick. It's 8 o'clock. I still got time." So
Google Calendar has saved my bacon. I can remember Mom's now. Their anniversary, I always forget. And my dad's birthday, of all things. I know about when it is, but I always have to stop and actively think. And since she's not watching it, the same thing with my fiance's, because I always have to stop and go, oh, yeah, it's this day. Amanda, I didn't admit to that. You didn't hear this. She's probably watching Glee or something. So, yeah.
Oh. That's right. My wife's probably watching a Hallmark movie or something.
That's very much the same thing in our house.
I would bet my Joe collection that she's watching a Hallmark movie.
Hey, you know what? It keeps. She doesn't mess with the room downstairs where all my stuff is. You know, she has actually. When we were getting a house, I always have to give Amanda a lot of props for this. You know, when we were looking at houses, we were having a hard time finding one. And I said, well, I don't really need a room to put all this stuff in. I can make do with just something. And she said, no. And I looked at her and she goes, you have a lot of really cool stuff. It should be out. And I just looked at her. I'm like, you are the greatest woman ever.
Is that when you got down on one knee and asked her to marry you?
No, but.
So great point right there.
Funny story, you know, Larry Hama had a partial role in my proposal.
Oh.
So not that anyone really cares, but at JoeCon 2013, I was talking to my buddy Mad Mac 41, Scott McAllister, and you know, I said something about, well, you know, Amanda's really into G.I. Joe Renegades. She loves Snake Eyes, thinks he's the greatest character. And I said, you know, I'm thinking like, I want to do something when I propose to her, and I want to do something that she can't get anywhere else. And I said, you know, how cool would it be if Snake Eyes were, you know, a picture of Snake Eyes proposing? Scott doesn't even wait, marches over to Hama, tells Hama about it. And Larry gets so many con sketch requests. So he's like, well, I'll see what I can get to it. Larry stayed up late at night, finished it, would not take a dime for the sketch.
No way.
And so he gave me this thing, and it was Snake Eyes down on one knee holding a sign, and it said blank. It just said, he left a space for me to write in her name. It says, will you marry me? And then it says sketch by Hama. He put proposal by, and he left that space blank for me. So then I was going to propose to her. Well, then her sister ended up getting engaged, and she's like, well, no, we're not doing anything for a year. So this picture sat hidden And so when I gave it to her, she comes home, and I had this little table on our entryway, and I had the Spy Troops 12-inch Snake Eyes. I had him down on one knee, holding a little piece of, holding the box with the ring in the same pose as the sketch, and all these Snake Eyes figures lined up, all down on one knee. And
that's awesome.
She looked at it, and she's like, "You are such a nerd," and yes. And I'm like, "Woohoo!" So
You see,
but I said she would have said no if it hadn't have been for Larry's sketch, because she's like, "Wait a minute, that's a Hammer sketch." I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "You don't have a Hammer sketch." I said, "No, I've never asked him for one."
That's awesome.
So it's framed in our living room now.
Very cool.
That's so nice. Where I'm kind of like the guy. I was like, you know what? Let's make this official in more ways than one. That explains why I've been divorced 3 times.
Oh,
that's all right.
Yeah.
You know what? That just means you got to find the right one.
Yeah, but anyways,
my wife let me put toys on our cake, which was awesome.
Dude,
it's me holding her. It's me in a Spider-Man costume holding her.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
At the time, I was working on Spider-Man, and my head sculpt is on a Marvel Legends figure. So I had that head painted to look like me because the figure is all translucent. So I had my friend who does all of our hand painting at Hasbro. He did the head for me, and then put my wife on a female figure, Legends figure, and took a piece of her wedding dress, and we made the dress for her. And it's me holding her in a Spider-Man costume, holding her in her wedding dress. It was on the top.
That's pretty awesome.
Dude,
really awesome.
Cake topper from hell. That's awesome.
All right. Well, we're going to call it a show there. Again, we'll be on in 2 weeks from tomorrow, which will be December the 2nd. Hopefully, we will have some awesome guests. If not, it'll just be me and Fred ranting for an hour and a half about something. Hopefully, by then, I think the final day for figure subscription deadline is
7th.
Is it the 7th? I thought it was the 4th. Okay.
Hold on. Ah, crap. I'm on the wrong post.
Oh.
Your inquiry is important to us. Please continue to hold.
Mike, we didn't get to my segment. What happened?
What was your
Fred, did Mike tell you about the idea I have for a segment for the show?
Oh my God, is this the What's in the Box?
What's in the box?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them the segment. Go ahead.
I can't go through all of it. I pulled out a couple just to show you, but just to give you all some background. I got my wisdom teeth out last week.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Okay.
They had me on because I can't swallow pills. Yes, feel free to make fun of me about it. My wife does all the time, but yes, I can't swallow pills. So when I got my Vicodin, I said I need it in liquid, so they gave me liquid Vicodin, which made me drool like a mess. I was all banged up, so I wasn't feeling anything, and I was all loopy and stuff. So what do you do when you're sitting on the couch and you can't eat and you just watch TV? Oh, you got your phone. Oh, you just buy stuff on eBay. So I ended up buying. I sent Mike a picture of the first shipment. Right. It was like 15 boxes, and today 8 boxes came, and it's like I think I bought 30 or 40 new Joe items. And I was just like, wow. And my wife's like, what did you do? I was like, I don't know.
Buy it now, buy it now, buy it now.
Yeah, buy it now. I was like, oh, I could use that. Sure. So what I did was, because she's like, I thought you had everything. I'm like, well, I didn't get into the international stuff yet.
That's a trap, dude. That's a trap.
So that's what I did. And the one thing I'll show you, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think Red Laser did this one. It's a Z-Force Steel Brigade figure. So I needed that. What else did I got? I got into a lot of UK and Estrella stuff. So like Estrella Sergeant Slaughter or Plastorama Sergeant Slaughter. What else? Oh, this is how crazy I get. Because like if I get something, it has to be like fully complete. Yep. So if you remember the Rampage mail away figure, he came with Rampage, came with the file card, but he had a little piece of paper that was like a note from General Hawk saying like, oh, yeah, was it Steeler? Who was it? Yeah, Steeler was like on another mission, so now Rampage is taking over the tank division. Well, I didn't have that piece of paper, so what did I do? I bought the piece of paper. It's like a little note, like from Hawk. So I had to get that piece of paper, which was on my list. And the only other like piece of paper that's on my list that I can't get, which if there's any fans out there that have one, I'll buy it, is Listen and Fun Tripwire's file card. I do not have that, so I need that. But what else? Got a nice red jackal.
Nice.
That. Who else we got? UK Steeler. Got that. Jammer.
Oh,
so
dude, you went hardcore.
Dude, I got Red Laser on the way. I got Slaughter's Marauders Mutt on the way. I got Slaughter's Marauders Spirit on the way. I got Tiger Force Psych Out and Blizzard. I got a Tiger Force Blizzard, which was a lot of money. It was well worth it.
Now, is there a Kraken?
What was that?
Did you get a Kraken?
I didn't get a Kraken.
Oh.
I didn't get a Kraken. I went and I was like, oh, I need those terrible dino figures. I got
Shut up! I love the Dino Hunters. Dinosaurs sucks.
Oh, so I don't know if you could see this. So I'm a really big Duke fan, and the mail away Duke, what did he come with that made him so special? The little flag sticker. So my mail away Duke has the flag sticker stuck to his backpack, which is cool. I'm like, all right, but I went and I bought one. I don't know if you could see it. It has the unused
oh my gosh
flag sticker.
Dude.
So I bought that. But then the crown jewel of what I got, which is how you can tell my Steel Brigade love, is I have everything Steel Brigade. The Tonka trucks, the fan club hat. I have a flag. I have all of the customs. I have every version of Steel Brigade. Anything Steel Brigade that they've made, I have, except for that prototype that came out in like the early 2000s. I'm working on that though. But there was a guy selling a Steel Brigade with the original mailer box.
Wow.
And I was like, holy crap, I have to have it. Now, the best thing about it was, I mean, I remember this because I ordered the figure, so I remember what the box looked like. So it's like, you got the, the file card with it, which is great, and the best thing about this guy, because you could name the figure. This kid named his figure Cyanide. Cyanide. Love it. But the coolest thing about this was that I bought this from a guy in Florida. Now, he wasn't the original owner of it, but he got it. Who knows how many people have owned it since then. But the original address on it is Providence, Rhode Island. Now, I live in Cranston, Rhode Island, which is right next to Providence. But the fact that it has now come full circle, and it went from a bunch of different people, and now is back in Rhode Island where it started. Kind of interesting.
That's man, you are not allowed to get liquid Vicodin again.
Oh man, I mean, I don't need it. I'm checking eBay 6 times a day, but yeah, the liquid Vicodin helps. So that's just a taste of everything. I've gotten tons of stuff. A lot of fun school stuff. That fun school stuff. People will probably hate fun school. I think it's hilarious how shitty the figures are.
Oh.
But it's like, for instance, the 91 Hawk, the fun school version, has such great colors.
Yeah.
He's almost like Night Force colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I got to feed the need. It's a sickness. You know that. So it's like, what do you do when you have everything? You buy more of something you don't have. So.
And fun school stuff's gotten expensive anymore compared to what it used to be. Small Joe's used to have it, and that was like, man, bargain basement prices to get Night Vipers and Crimson Guard Immortals. And, that was the same era as the infamous Chinese Major Blood.
Yeah.
Which is still, like, I think one of the coolest looks for Major Blood. It's just so subdued. Just Major Blood and a quilted bomber jacket.
Yep.
Man, he's going to kick your ass. Love that figure.
Yeah. 2 years ago, those fun school figures, you can get them for $10. Now it's like 25. I'm like, geez, You know what? No products coming out, and like you said, we're all looking for something. We're all looking for something.
Now I'm waiting for the day that Bobby comes back and he's like, guys, been doing a little shopping. I decided I got a complete run of Spy Troops. I got all the Spy Troops shipwrecks and Cobra Commander disguise.
It's not gonna happen.
Oh, you know what? I said the same thing, and I used to shoot my reviews in front of the Cobra Mountain playset.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, the Geonosis Arena turned around. But
it's too bad because there's some good O-ring figures like mixed in there, but I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't get behind it. I remember I was in art school when I found out, like, oh, G.I. Joe's coming back. Now this was 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
When they came back, and I was like, oh, this is great. I went out to Toys R Us, got the Duke and Cobra Commander 2-pack, and I pulled it out, and I'm like, wait a second. Why is Duke like it almost reminded me of when Kenner brought back Star Wars in what, 93, 94, and Luke looked like he was like doing
Luke Schwarzenegger, I'm going to break you.
And I'm like, this is what Duke became, in a big upper body and a helmet you can't even take off, and Cobra Commander was like just as jacked, and I'm like, man, this sucks.
It was extreme all over again.
So I was like, no thanks, man, I'm done.
But you know what? Again, even in that era, poor Mike. Mike's like, dude, I got to get off here. I got to go watch, Matlock. But there still are some gems in that era in the Toys R Us 6-packs.
Yeah.
The Plague Troopers versus Steel Brigade, man.
Yeah.
My buddy Luke Ellison being red zone, but
I have it, and I have the TRU Tiger Force set. Like, there's some good stuff. Even that black and yellow Serpentor from, like, what was it, 98 or
comic pack one, or you mean the Real American Hero Classics? Yeah. Like, even stuff like that kind of stuff was still kind of good, and then there's some stuff sprinkled in, and every now and then, like, I'll get a few, like I said, that Tiger Force set, that Steel Brigade set, but a lot of it's hard to get. Bruce Campbell Serpentor? No. See, that's where I draw the line. But it's Bruce Campbell.
No.
It's Ash as Serpentor.
No. That's like even so my old boss, I hope this isn't like secretive information, but my old boss at Hasbro, he's Agent Faces. Oh, yeah, okay. I always make fun of him about it. And I'm just like, you know what? And I always tell him, like, you killed G.I. Joe for me. You killed it. You're responsible for killing it.
Oh, my God.
So, and the thing is, Bobby said that in his employee review. So it was like, yeah, about your performance this year. Needs improvement. Well, that's got to be weird, though, for you, where you're working there. G.I. Joe is, it's still something that from your life before Hasbro. And then, oh, yeah, my boss is the unmasked Crimson Guard figure, which, by the way, I got a crap ton of those because removable helmet Crimson Guards were awesome. I don't care if the head's a little big. It's realistic, the helmet was.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird and surreal at the same time. I mean, so the designer who did Pimp Daddy Destro is like my good friend, and he's a designer on Marvel, and me and him go out to lunch like 3 times a week. And
for real, dude, I need to send you some Destros that are carded to get autographed.
Yeah, so John Boyce, very talented designer, very, very talented designer. Yeah,
you tell him that's my favorite Destro. I mean, it is. That's my favorite.
Talk about it all the time. So I'm like, dude,
oh, wow.
You got to have a box of them somewhere. He goes, man, if I did, you'd know about it.
Gold-headed Pimp Daddy Destro.
Yeah.
I missed them when they were on Hasbro Toy Shop that morning. I would have been up when they first went on. It took me a couple of years to track one down. And you know what? He is one of my favorite things because when I wrote the silver-headed review, so I'm sitting over there, I get to my computer, I'm writing, I'm like, man, I need some music to get me in the mood. I went online. Don't judge me. I downloaded the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, put Staying Alive on repeat, and I'm just writing away because that is Disco Destro in the greatest way possible.
Yeah, I got the gold-headed one carded, and I got the silver one loose.
Oh,
and I love it. The gold one I will not open, but the silver one I actually bought loose. That was fine.
That when they first did that as the debut Joe Comic-Con exclusive, that was, my mind was blown. That was just so hilarious because Hasbro took something that was this legendary, piece of mythical Joe history, and man, they owned it, and I loved it because he's so ridiculous. I mean, Destro in a leopard print, come on.
That's John Warden, man. That's the Godfather right there.
I gave him a Joe versus Cobra Wild Bill hat, and I took a lightsaber, flipped it upside down, so he had a pimp cane with a red shaft.
You know who Pimp Daddy Destro could have hung out with? Is that terrible Destro from like what 2001, the one with the red pants and the
pinheaded Destro,
the black Under Armour like tight T-shirt, like he's going to the club. Come on,
I'm telling you, I still think that was intended to be Zartan at one point.
Ugh, so bad.
That was 70s Destro because he had a medallion.
Ugh,
he's
terrible.
like he's walking up asking him like, "Hey baby, what's your sign?" You know.
Garbage.
Oh,
absolute garbage.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll give you that one because his head was smaller than a normal head, and he's supposed to be wearing a mask.
He had a Joker smile. I'm like, come on.
Did he encounter like that witch doctor from Beetlejuice that shrunk his head down because his head was tiny?
Ugh, garbage. If there's maybe 1 out of every 10 figures that's good in that era, that's still not good enough.
See, in spite of the articulation, the weird sculpting on the hands, I still love. No one will ever dissuade me of it. The concept of the Neo Viper. You know what? You know why? Because I was a huge Halo player at the time. And I read all the books. And in the books, you know, the Spartans were these kids that were kidnapped and they were experimented on and they were trained, kind of like Kurt Russell in Soldier. You know, they were trained from like and indoctrinated from like when they were childhood to be soldiers. And I'm like, man, the Neo Vipers, there's only like 100 of them in my mind. It's like a real small number, but they're these badass super soldiers. And I was okay with it. And then Rise of Cobra came along and then I didn't like them so much anymore.
Yeah. Rise of Cobra. Oh, what a kick in the balls that was.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
God, I went and saw that opening night at a midnight screening when they still had them. I was so excited. I walked out of the theater and Amanda's like, "So what'd you think?" And I'm like, "I got to get up and go to work in the morning." That's all I said. I went home and went to bed.
It reminded me of like I had flashbacks of like episode 1 opening day and how crushed I was for episode 1. But I remember like I drank the Kool-Aid. I saw the trailer and I said, "Yeah, man, accelerator suits. How awesome does that look?" Drank that Kool-Aid, drank every drop.
Well, because we were so excited to have Joe on the big screen. I mean, look at I think Transformers had already come out.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that Spec Ops team in Transformers that eventually became Nest, those group of soldiers in the desert with Scorponok, I'm sitting there going, Duke, Snake Eyes, Roadblock, you know, I had them all. I'm like, that to me should have been your basis for a Joe movie. Those guys.
All right.
Because they should have just made them Joes. I would have been perfectly happy with it.
Yeah.
And Stephen Sommers, I mean, the guy did The Mummy. The Mummy's a great movie. But then he did Van Helsing and The Mummy Returns. And yeah. And I knew I was in trouble when he said, well, the end of it's a love letter to the movie Thunderball, which is my least favorite James Bond movie because damn, that underwater fight goes on for like 10 years.
Ugh. I just couldn't get past the whole, hey, I'm dating Baroness and the commander's my future brother-in-law. I was like, wait a second.
Oh, and the Baroness is brainwashed. She's not evil. She's brainwashed. I
saw the Fonz on water skis with shark repellent bat spray. That's what I saw. And I was like, no.
Oh my God, you just mixed two awesome metaphors for things going bad. Bat shark repellent and Fonzie jumping the shark. That alone gets you a beer from me at Joe Con. That alone gets you a beer because holy crap. God. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. There's just and I'm sorry, Rachel Nichols is a good actress.
Oh my God, do I love me some Rachel Nichols. That was about the only good part of that movie.
But they made her into Spock.
Yeah.
You know, when Scarlett's like, essentially walking up to Ripcord going, I find your logic flawed, Captain. No, like, come on, this is Scarlett. She's supposed to be spunky, not logical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Channing Tatum, possibly the worst actor since Little Wooden Boy appeared in an episode of The Tick.
Ugh.
So,
Well, I'm sure the ladies liked him in Magic Mike.
Yeah. I don't think there was. I mean, well, Chris Eccleston. He was good as a pre-Destro, but other than that, I don't think anyone was good. Hey, I got an idea. Hey, let's cast Ray Park as Snake Eyes so he can be the shortest person in the world. Might as well get Kenny Baker to do.
What, Warwick Davis was busy? And what was up with the costume? The Rise of Cobra costume was awful for Snake Eyes. It's like they grabbed him by the ankles, dunked him in, vinyl, and then just pulled him out where he had the sculpted mouth and all.
I never got the full story. All I know is that no one was happy about that costume. So I don't know what, it's like, hey, I got an idea. We're going to take the most iconic Joe character and we're going to save him to the end in development and then half-ass him at the last second and be like, oh, he's just a dude in black.
Well, and let's take the entire Snake Eyes Storm Shadow mythology and completely make Storm Shadow into basically a whiny little kid. They were they hardly knew. I don't know. There were so many ways that could have gone, but I think the biggest insult in that movie, maybe it was a mercy killing. They brought Larry Hama on set. They dressed him up as a UN general. They filmed scenes with him in the audience when Hawk is doing his presentation in the beginning, and then they cut him 100% from the movie.
Damn shame.
And they released a Blu-ray with a 10-minute special feature on what? Accelerator suits.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are. If you could invent a time machine and go back and fix that crap, I think a lot of people would be like, yeah.
It's a good thing that even as a Hasbro employee, I'm not representing the company in this podcast because man, that movie was some dog shit. I just don't understand how that happened. How did that happen? What blows my mind even more is my friends always make fun of me because I'm always like, okay, if you fuck up a movie the first time, you can't mess it up the second time. The sequel's always going to be good. No. Ghost Rider 2, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. They're going to fix their mistakes. G.I. Joe 2, they're going to fix their mistakes. No, it's going to be great. Oh, The Rock, Bruce Willis, yeah, put that all aside. It's going to be great. They're going to fix it. Man, I got out of that showing and I was like, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Now, did you ever watch the Best Buy version, the extended action cut of the movie of Retaliation?
I don't think I ever want to.
Well, here's the funny thing. If you can ever track it down, there's an additional 20 minutes of I think 20 or so minutes of footage, but it's not like a scene here and a scene there. It's slightly extended scenes, alternate versions of whole sequences throughout the entire film. It's the only thing that makes The Rock, which I always think of him as The Rock. I'm sorry, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, he's definitely The Rock.
But The Rock trying to kill Firefly, it actually made a little bit more sense. But yeah, at least they got Snake Eyes' costume better.
Yeah, but he's still 4'6".
Well, yeah, okay. So he's Frodo Baggins, and he's taking the ring back to Mount Arashikage.
Let's have, and I remember they released that image of Snake Eyes and Roblox throwing it up, yeah. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, so you got The Rock, who's 8 feet tall, and you got Ray Park, who's 3 feet tall and $110. And you got him standing next to The Rock, and he's supposed to be the one badass Joe. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Ugh. And then, hey, I got an idea. Let's cast Lady J, and let's get the tallest girl imaginable to play Lady J so that she towers over Flint and she can stand next to Roadblock. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Why do you take and poor Mike. Mike wants to go home, but why do you take Flint, who arguably and I'm not trying to offend anyone that likes Duke, but in many ways, Flint had more charisma on screen in Sunbow in many ways than Duke. And Bill Ratner was just, Flint was the man.
Yeah.
And you make him the rookie.
Right?
Like, there aren't other rookie characters you could have introduced. To me, if Duke dies, I know they wanted to center it on Dwayne Johnson. Oh, no, Flint's like, all right, Joes, pack up. We're heading out. And everybody falls in line because it's damn Flint. Did they not watch the Sunbow movie where, Flint walks Beachhead through the command structure of the Joe team? Because Beachhead's like, you're all out of shape. It's all a bunch of crap. Nobody listens to him. Sergeant Slaughter shows up 2 minutes later, says the same thing. And they're all like, wow, Sarge, that's a great idea. If I were Beachhead, I would have murdered all of them in their sleep that night. I would have showed up at Cobra and said, sign me up, damn it. I'm in.
The scene that was missing from the 87 movie is Beachhead and Chuckles sitting in a bar, and Beachhead's like, damn it, nobody listens to me, and Chuckles just sits there silent like, yeah.
Yeah, because Chuckles never speaks in the entire movie.
No lines.
But I think he has a voice credit. I think if you go through the credits, I think there's an actor with Chuckles. It's probably like somebody's cousin that they're just like, dude, you want to be in a movie?
It was probably the grunt sound he made when he threw the missile.
Oh, God, yes. He pulls off the Havoc missile and throws it because, kids, that's how missiles work. If you throw them, they will go the distance. I don't care. You know what, though? I still love that. I still love the Sunbow movie more than the live actions because it had one of my favorite sequences. And that I think for a lot of people, it might be the Renegades assaulting the Terrordrome and Pythona. Basically, anything with the Terrordrome in that movie is sublime.
Yep.
It's just brilliant. Pythona's assault at the beginning, amazing. The Renegades busted in, amazing.
I can name a good amount of Oscar-nominated movies that the 87 movie is better than.
Yeah.
87 movie is pure gold, and it holds up. I watched it the other day. It was so good.
Oh.
So good.
Yeah. It's so funny, too, because everybody says, oh, the intro is the 4th of July. No, it's the rededication of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And how badass is that? There's balloons. There's a helicarrier. Like, how many people did Duke kill at the end by throwing that bomb on that thing?
Have you seen people take the X-Men Toy Biz Statue of Liberty playset and then use it to make? Oh, it's so good. It makes me want to buy one.
I've done that. In fact, I have one in my basement. And so funny story. Here in Central Illinois, they have this big simultaneous town festival that happens in this one county. All the towns for 2 weekends have this big festival, and you just go around and to all these different places. Well, the one town, it's called London Mills, Illinois, and it is like, if it has 600 people, then my name is Orville Redenbacher. It's just tiny. But in their park downtown, they have a replica Statue of Liberty, and it's probably like 8.5 feet tall. And every time it's starting to get a little worse for wear, but I always tell Amanda every year we go, I'm like, man, I'm going to come back here with a step ladder. I'm going to throw some Joes on top of that. I'm going to shoot that because, and it's in a park full of trees, so I'd have to throw a backdrop up. But it's like this perfect Statue of Liberty.
That's amazing.
Oh, I'll have to post a picture of this thing.
I'll come to Illinois. We'll go and we'll steal it.
I see a spot in the corner of that Joe room that is right back there that's begging for a Statue of Liberty, man.
The ceilings are too low. The ceilings are only 7 feet.
Yeah, it's a drop ceiling. We can push out the tile.
Yeah, we have to take some of the panels from the drop ceiling down and have the just sticking up.
Oh, yeah, I can just see now. So, it's like you're in court. Like, no, I had nothing to do with that, officer.
What are you talking about?
And you pull up a YouTube clip, and I'm like, yeah, I'm screwed.
I just gave him the idea. Do it.
Couple of lightning kugels, a Friday night. I got a truck. Next thing you know, I'm like, Amanda, come on out. This is great. She's like, what the hell did you do? Look at this. Yeah. God. Wouldn't be the first time. All right, Mike, you want to shut us up so you can go home?
You act like I'm at home now.
That's true. I'm the one that's at the office. What the crap?
I gotta go to do bread. There you go, like that. So we're over 2 hours now, and we'll be back on in 2 weeks. We'll have hopefully some special guests lined up, maybe some previous guests we've had. Hopefully, Bobby can talk Double D into coming in for a little bit.
See what I can do.
Yeah, tell them that you'll come back with them, just to referee it or whatever. It doesn't matter, you know. Just 30 minutes is all I need. 30 minutes. But wow, Fred, tell me where they can find you at.
Pretty much all across the known universe at Joe Battle Lines. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the web for those kids that still use it, and Google Plus. Yes, all 5 of you, keep it up.
And since I learned to brand 101, you can find me everywhere at Just Another G.I. Joe Show on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And Bobby, we appreciate you coming on with us and having a good time and chuckling it up.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure, sir.
All right, we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks a lot.
Take care, guys.
Bye.